Okay, here we are. Alt.nerd.obsessive. Worst episode ever.
Hey everybody, welcome to Worst Episode Ever, a podcast for people who love The Simpsons, by people who love The Simpsons, about how much we hate The Simpsons. We're here trying to find which is the worst episode ever. And as always, my name's Dan.
And as always, my name.
Hey, and let's do the whole episode this way.
People won't get annoyed by that.
No, not at all. They're already annoyed, but at least it's not DiCaprio. So hey everybody, we are back with our, what is this, 58th? 58th. Our 58th episode of Worst Episode Ever. We are watching an episode from season...
We are watching Fox.
An episode from season 22 of The Simpsons called Donnie Fatso. Originally aired December 2010.
2010.
Pretty recent, but Jack, have you seen this one?
Well, neither of us really know much about what we're getting into.
No.
The prevailing theory we have between each other is that this is the Fit Tony episode, and if that is the case,
I don't know.
then no. I've seen references to Fit Tony, but I don't think I saw his origin story, so to speak.
I think didn't we watch an episode where Fit Tony was around? I don't remember. It doesn't matter. None of this matters. This show is just show is a garbage wasteland of nonsense.
And also, it's one of the last nice days of the autumn before the cold sets in, so we've got the window at Wii Studios open.
Yes.
So if you hear children playing it's happening outside.
It's not the set of a horror movie. It's just actual children. So if you have not watched this episode, you can do so on SimpsonsWorld.com or however else you're getting your episodes. Again, it's from season 22, Donnie Fatso. And while you're on the internet, which is probably where you got this, unless you got it from Carrier Pigeons or our mail order Wii service.
Yeah, iTunes is big, Stitcher not so much, Carrier Pigeons third.
Yeah, it's pretty big as a podcast delivery system. But while you're on the internet, check out our website. It's weepodcast.com, weepodcast.com. From there, you can do everything you'd ever wanted to do, but most importantly, two things. You can buy our Simpsons movie commentary track. That's $2. It's so good. You're going to fucking flip for it. And the second thing you can do is use our Amazon links to click through, buy your Christmas presents through Wii's click-through, and we would be so happy.
I was surprised when Dan brought in the whole Amazon concept. I really didn't think it was going to do that much for us, but it pretty much keeps the show
That's what
alive.
keeps the show running.
And we do want to upgrade our equipment and get new equipment and stop borrowing equipment from other people.
Yes, so that it sounds, when we have a guest, it doesn't sound like you and I are down the end of a hallway.
Down at the bus stop.
Yeah, right.
And who knows? Maybe in return, if we get some nice equipment, we'll have some fun with it.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll put it up our butts. Is that not what you meant?
That's what I meant. Yeah,
obviously. Yeah. Okay, good. So click through weepodcast.com. We would appreciate that. And now we're going to take a break and watch Donnie Fatso.
Get out of here, you kids.
You can't tell us what to do, old man.
We're gonna plant you in Fat Tony's gang as an undercover informant.
I can't go undercover with Fat Tony. He's met me. I've been in his house. I was briefly his consigliere, Robert Duvall.
So, that was Donnie Fatso.
Oh my goodness, it sure was, Jack.
More like Donnie Fitzo.
Then Fatso, and then just Johnny Fitzo.
More
Fatso.
like Donnie Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr.
John?
Don.
Don. So this was Donnie Fatso.
Yeah.
Should we just jump right into the recap?
Yeah, I think this is.
There's not that much to recap, really.
It just.
Also, is it recap? I just said recap.
It's to recap. Recap the plot.
Recap the plot.
Wait, that's kind of what Adam Scott and Scott Aukerman do. Where they like to say words wrong, and I think it's funny. Should we?
It is funny.
Should we jump into our we talking you two? We talking you to me to you. We two.
We talking you two to you.
No.
we talking you two to me to you too.
Hello. Just ate a thing called a Tangelo.
Yeah. Now this podcast is just for Scott Aukerman, and I'm Scott, the host of You Talking You Two to Me.
Yeah.
We're big fans of the show.
Big fans.
I've just finally, Dan got me into it like a month ago, and I've been making my way through it. So you guys can listen as well, but this is really just for Scott and Scott.
Yep.
This is where we recap the podcast, You Talking You Two to Me. So, they like to say words the wrong, they like to pronounce wrong.
They like to say words the wrong way. They
get a kick out of it.
They like to hand each other a plug for their iPod and just like drop it it, and halfway.
Yeah, you did that to me once, and I didn't know about that
Right,
yet. I
yeah,
just
I
thought
was
you
just-
were being a dick.
Yeah,
Just
well,
like-
it's both.
Yeah.
It can be both.
so that was our episode of
All
We
right.
Two Are Talking,
Thanks,
You
Scott
Talking,
and Scott.
You Talking, You Two to Me,
to you.
To you two.
Two.
Hello, hello. Just ate a thing called a Tangelo.
So back to the Simpsons.
back to the
back to the
The
recap.
plot recap.
To the plot recap.
You know who mispronounces word is Scott and Scott.
No,
is this an episode of We Talking, You Two to Me?
Hello, hello. Just ate a thing called a Tangelo.
This is an episode of We're Taking Your Talking to You Two to Me's bits and talking about them to you.
For short, we call that podcast.
Yeah, we call that the entire show.
Hello, hello. Just ate a thing called a Tangelo.
The episode starts with New Year's Day, and Homer. There's new laws that have been put into effect, and Homer's getting citations out his ass for recycling and other things. And so he tries to bribe his way out of them. He gets caught, and he gets put into jail for like 10 years.
Yeah.
He makes a deal with the FBI. His handler is played by Jon Hamm.
Johnny Hamm.
To basically infiltrate the Mafia undercover as a Donnie Brasco type character.
Mm-hmm.
And so Donnie Fatso is Homer. I was thinking it was Tony.
I guess so, yeah.
So so he goes to prison and he befriends Fat
'cause Homer's
Tony.
fat.
Yeah, he befriends Fat Tony and the mob. Fat Tony takes a liking to them and they become very close, which breaks Fat Tony's heart literally when Homer finally rats him out unwillingly, though he's wired.
Yeah.
And Fat Tony gets busted and he has a heart attack and dies.
Yes,
That's
and he really dies
Yeah,
in
so,
this episode.
which I didn't know happens.
I
So-
knew it happened. I didn't know for sure it was this episode.
I've heard of Fit Tony before. I
Yeah.
thought Fit Tony was Fat Tony getting skinny. I thought he lost
No.
weight. And
It was a complete beer fest
Yeah,
situation.
yeah.
Where Landfilled dies, and just call me
just call him
Landfill.
Landfill. Yeah. So basically, they create. Well, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
So, so Fat Tony dies, and his cousin Fit Tony. If you haven't seen the episode, that last minute was gibberish.
Yeah.
Fit Tony comes in. Fit Tony looks and sounds exactly like Fat Tony, except he's buff.
Right, except he's in shape.
And he's gonna kill Homer, but he sees that Homer felt so bad, and Homer actually really cared about Fat Tony that he lets Fat Tony. He lets Homer live,
and the episode ends.
so that Fat Tony's memory is still preserved.
Yeah, we'll
and,
talk about that.
Then it ends with a Goodfellas parody where Homer narrates what happens. Basically, Fit Tony becomes the new Fat Tony and starts eating a lot and becomes fat, so they just start calling him Fat Tony. So
Yeah.
presumably, since season 22, the Fat Tony that you see in those episodes is this Fit
Is
Tony.
Fit Tony,
the,
yeah.
the original Tony
Fit Fat
DeVito is dead for real, like
Yeah.
like Bleeding Gums Murphy, which I
Yep.
don't care for.
we
So
can talk
yeah,
about- we'll
and
talk
it-
about
yeah.
that.
So it ends with the Goodfellas parody. Ends with Homer in front of the house with the newspaper, like the end of Goodfellas. Maggie shoots a gun, and
Yep.
then they end with some captions. Pretty much like the end of Goodfellas. They end with some captions just telling us where some of the
Where the
characters,
characters
are gone in
are.
the future.
Yep. Then we
yeah.
pressed record, and then we started talking, and we did a plot recap.
And then we did a We Talking, You Two to Me to You
Yep.
too. And then we did a second We Two Are Talking, You Two
Yep.
to Me to You
And
too.
you all turned off the podcast,
and now
and
we're just
welcome
talking
back.
to ourselves.
That's how it works. Okay, so let's talk really quickly about the couch gag.
Let's talk about that.
It was a very long couch gag where they did an advent calendar, which Advent is starting up very soon. So
Probably
that's
around
fitting for
when
us.
This episode comes out.
We were a little concerned it was going to be a Christmas episode.
Yeah,
when
and
we saw that.
sorry, even though it is Advent right about now. Sorry to push Christmas down your throat in the middle of November because
Eat
there's
your
already
fucking Christmas.
there was the day election day when I went to go vote across the street. I saw the discount store across the street had Christmas trees and everything.
They had Christmas
Yeah.
tree. They had Christmas stuff in September at like Target.
So we hate that. Obviously, everybody hates that. So we hate to be. We didn't know about the Advent calendar couch gag. We're not trying to shove
No,
Christmas
yeah.
down your throat.
Yeah.
Although, if you're doing your Christmas shopping,
WePodcast.com for all your Wii Christmas needs. Go and click our Amazon links.
if you don't
buy.
spend a lot of money on your family and friends through our website,
Yeah.
you hate Jesus and you hate your
you
family.
hate
and
America,
friends.
really.
You hate America.
And you don't have to just buy your family and friends gifts. You can buy us gifts.
Buy us gifts.
We'll take gifts.
Yeah, we'll take presents.
We're not afraid to beg.
We'll take gifts. We'll take
We'll
those.
take gifts.
We'll take just,
yeah, GIF.
we had that. You had that gift contest on Twitter.
Yeah.
We'll take those.
We'll take that. Just
And,
send us.
I'm full team GIF. I am not a GIF person. I don't.
Oh no, it's GIF
Yeah, that's GIF is ridiculous.
or GIF.
I like GIF. It's classy.
That's on a YouTube show
Or
called
GIF.
Idea Channel.
GIF.
GIF.
like
Choosy
GIF.
moms choose your
A
GIF.
couple of weeks ago, we had our best friend GIF on the show. Anywho.
Anyway, so then Advent calendar opening, you all know what an Advent calendar is. You open every day, and
Well, maybe not.
oh, okay. An Advent calendar is a calendar before Advent.
Which is the 40 days before Christmas.
Yeah.
It's when
It's
Virgin Mary's water broke? When's that?
Nope. That's exactly what it was. It was a very long pregnancy. People don't realize that.
Oh, when you give birth to God, you
Yeah.
want to take your time.
It's like, oh, my baby, is what you say when you're in pain. Yeah, no, Mary's gestation period. She was like an elephant, really. It was just like many months.
What's Advent? What is it?
Advent's just the 6 weeks before Christmas.
There's got to be. It starts with it. I'm sure there's a reason it starts when it starts.
It's like a countdown to Christmas in the Catholic Church.
There's got to be some kind of event. It's got to be like
Looking it up.
when the stars were aligned and the moon is in the 7th house.
Yeah, it's just preparation.
All right, I don't know. That seems.
There's nothing specific.
It seems arbitrary.
History.
Unlike everything else about.
It is unknown when Advent first began. It was certainly in existence from about 480.
I would listen
Thank
to
you.
a podcast of just you reading Wikipedia articles.
I don't read all. I'm just selecting the good bits.
Anyway,
Anyway, let me get.
there's
back
a
to my
long
notes.
couch gag.
Yeah, it was really long, and I kind of zoned out what some of the photos were. I remember Smithers goes to see Santa, and then the next picture was Santa on Smithers'
Yeah,
lap.
is that a gay thing?
I don't know, I
See,
guess-
Santa's gay.
I guess so.
Whatever.
There was a thing like Merry Christmas from Fox News, and there was something about that. It doesn't matter. Then the episode began.
It was un-Advent-ful.
Well, it was a cute idea. I liked the idea, but I'm just too tired to care.
Also, when did this episode air?
This episode aired in December, I believe. It was.
'Cause
I just closed the episode
I was like,
page
okay,
to
maybe
go to
it
Advent.
aired in November, and that's why there's an Advent calendar. Or maybe it aired at Christmas, and that's why there's an Advent calendar. But it takes place on January 1st, so it's a New Year's episode.
I didn't understand the New Year's thing. This episode aired December 12th, 2010. But let's talk about the
Yeah.
beginning of the actual episode.
It opens with the
Everyone's
morning
hungover
of-
from New Year's Eve.
I mean, I'm guessing it's A, non sequitur opening, and B, leading to the idea that there's new laws in place that Homer doesn't know about. That's what gets him in
Yeah,
hot
I
water
guess.
with the FBI.
I guess that works, but it's just not. It has nothing else to
Yeah.
do with anything.
I didn't find anything in this entire sequence, this New Year's hungover in the Evergreen Terrace scene, funny, except for maybe Marge is like, "Please be quiet, I have a hangover." And they go and they turn on the TV, and it's still New Year's in this America Samoa, and they go, now the Blue
Yes, I
Angels
like this
will,
too, yeah.
will wake up the screaming Wawa birds. So you have the loud roaring jets, and then these comically shrieking
Comically
birds.
loud, yeah, like it was like a loud. That's our word of the day.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that type
exactly.
Of thing.
Yeah, I like that, but all the other hungover stuff didn't really do anything for
Well,
me.
I liked it just because I thought it was funny to wake up hungover on New Year's and you turn on the American Samoa countdown because it's still New Year's for them. But yeah, I agree that there wasn't much funny in this sequence, but there was some eventful things. First, we see the birth of jerk-ass Lisa, question mark?
Yeah, there's a jerk-ass Lisa moment.
Because
Although
Bart comes down and he says, I never want to drink sparkling cider again. And Lisa just turns and has sparkling cider and sprays it all over him. Kind of
Yeah.
just out of nowhere.
yeah, well, so when we were watching it, we were like, "Whoa, jerk-ass Lisa!" But
Yeah.
now in retrospect, I
She's
guess,
always a jerk.
and she's just such a jerk.
Stuck-up vegetarian bee.
But
I love Lisa.
No, but I mean, sisters and brothers annoy each other. I don't know if that's necessarily jerk-ass.
No, we're going to call everyone jerk-ass.
I'm sure I bugged the hell out of my sister for no good reason.
Well, then we have the birth of jerk-ass Santa's little helper, who fucked the cat, apparently.
That was
weird.
unsettling.
That was
Poor
unsettling.
Snowball.
Yeah, they're
Is
saying...
Snowball a girl or a boy?
I think Snowball's a girl. All cats are girls and all dogs are boys. I say this even though I own a male cat.
I like that concept though.
Yeah, I used to think that when I was when I was younger. Oh yeah.
There is
I
some-
don't think I'm the only one.
There,
either.
there is something feminine about
What are you saying? I own 2 cats, huh?
cats.
Huh?
I own cats.
Bench pressing contest right now.
Do you
Let's
not,
go.
do you not remember playing Monopoly at my house growing up,
do, I
and
do.
the cat just jumping on the
Yeah,
on the
of
game,
course.
and then I wouldn't move it?
I do indeed.
That's what he does.
That's what cats do. They like to get into the business and possibly have sex with your greyhound, as happens in this episode. Yeah, I mean, all that stuff was whatever. None of it was particularly funny.
Nope.
Homer obviously is actually hungover, but you said before Marge was hungover. Marge wasn't hungover. She says, quote, she got secondhand wasted from kissing Homer. What'd you think of that?
Well, my first thought, I wasn't really listening to the words. I thought she was saying she wasn't hungover from booze, she was hungover from fucking.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was like the first split second, that's what I thought she meant. And then, yeah, I like the idea of...
Ring in the new year.
Yeah,
Homer and Marge, mid-coitus. The balls are dropping, baby. You're going to be singing Old Lang Syne.
Keep going.
That's all I got. What else is there on New Year's? What are you going to be kissing at midnight, Marge? These nuts.
We're late. It's late. We're very tired.
We're so tired.
The time change still has kind of left us jet lagged.
Yeah, from a month ago at this point. Yeah.
Early and dark out, and everything's miserable.
Yeah, it's like pitch black. We're recording this at what time? I was gonna say it's like 6:30 at night.
Yeah,
it's 5:30.
there's no natural light in Wii Studios.
Wii Studios is all solid gold.
It's all the light, the sunlight reflecting off the solid gold. So
we have
night,
just one
we're just in pitch black.
very, very small window and a mirror which reflects the light throughout the gold studio. And if the sun goes down, we're in the dark. I can't see anything.
I can't see anything either right now. I'm assuming that's you touching my foot.
That's not me touching your foot.
Is it a ghost?
It was me all along.
Why are you touching my foot, little ghost girl?
I have not been around in a while.
So you're touching my foot?
The audience would miss me, and I thought I will touch Jack's foot.
Well, 2 points. Two points to make. Touching my foot's probably not the best way to get my attention. I thought it was Dan. Secondly, I don't think the audience has missed you at all.
How dare you? I'm one of the most popular characters.
Yes, but that's not saying much.
I will stay here in the studio and keep you company in the dark.
Okay, thank you, little ghost girl.
You're welcome.
Keep your mouth shut, please.
Oh, okay. I didn't watch the episode, so I don't have much to add.
Thank you.
I arrived late.
So who was touching my foot during the episode?
That was he! How are you guys getting in here?
Through that little mirror.
I came in through the mirror. I'm made of light. I can travel as a wave or a particle.
Damn you, Hemus, and your quantum characteristics.
Am I alive or dead? Only when you examine me do
That's
you know
my
for
least
sure.
favorite Bond movie, by the way, is Quantum of Hemus.
What about its sequel, Quantum of Hemus?
Frankly, I thought that was a little trite.
It was a little hammered on. We were kind of forcing it. I mean, they were forcing it. Yeah, so Homer's cleaning up after the New Year's celebration, and as Jack said before in his recap, he's not sorting his recycling, and Wiggum and Lou come by, and they write him up a ticket, and then it just snowballs into a bunch of tickets.
Why wasn't Eddie there? When do you ever just see Wiggum and Lou?
That's a good question. Why wouldn't it just be Eddie
I
and
think
Lou?
they
They're
do.
partners,
I do think Lou has more interaction with Wiggum, but usually Eddie's there in the background.
Well, as the chief of police, you don't usually drive around on New Year's Day handing out tickets for misdemeanors.
Well, small towns, I feel like, at least on TV and movies, I've never been to an actual small town.
I don't know what a
before.
small town is like.
But
here in the big city.
Why are you saying that like a country lawyer? You pull on your suspenders like a country lawyer. That doesn't make sense.
I don't know nothing about the country. I'm just a big city lawyer.
A big city lawyer. I grew up in a
I know
penthouse
about
apartment.
subways and penthouses. I don't know nothing about no corn threshing machines.
Hey, it's me, the country lawyer, LVE.
My worst enemy has approached me here. I will face you in the courtroom,
It's
sir.
finger licking good, eh?
You will not lick my fingers.
I will.
Oh. Okay.
I win again. Now I'm Southern. I don't know what's going on. I can't see.
I think this episode is getting away from you boys.
It's hard in the dark. It's hard to do voices in the pitch black.
Voices in the Dark is a good name for this episode.
That's the name of our sophomore album.
Yeah, right.
Wii Studios presents Voices in the Dark. The first track's an instrumental, and then the rest are just
He misreading poetry.
and city lawyers.
No one knows how dark my soul is. The pains of Hemus. So Homer gets a ticket for not recycling properly, and then he just keeps getting tickets, and the scene just goes on and on and on. What did you think of this scene? Because I didn't necessarily think it was bad.
I actually wrote down that it felt like a longer scene than we usually get on the
It
Simpsons.
was, yeah.
Which is funny because it wasn't really an important scene. It was an expository scene, so even weirder that it would be so long. Yeah, I just was bored. I don't know.
Well, because it wasn't like...
The fake ticket, he was getting lots of tickets for these little things.
The first one was he didn't recycle properly, and then I forget what happens, and then
he rips the ticket up, so then he gets destruction of public property.
Right, and then he says, like, oh, damn it, like a minor curse before 10 a.m.,
Yeah.
That's a new one.
So they were coming up with all these quote-unquote silly...
They're all, like, kind of funny. They're silly,
I didn't think any were. That's the thing. I don't think they were funny.
Well, but I mean, I didn't think they were funny, but they're like, it's not like, oh, you murdered someone, you're going to jail. It's like...
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. It's just an odd thing that just went on and on. It was just kind of no reaction from either of us.
Yeah, no,
in the
most
studio.
of this episode...
I assume there was no reaction. I couldn't see you.
Yeah. I was trying to, like, groan apathetically, but it's hard to do a neutral groan. It's just like, "Arr." No, see, that's my Frankenstein.
Yep, fire bad.
Fire, neutral, okay with fire, could go either way.
What would a positive groan sound like? Okay. Hey, we're here in the dark. That is not the kind of noise that I want to hear.
Little ghost girl, what are you touching now?
That is not my hand. I have receded into the night. Cause that.
So he goes to Moe's. He's complaining about all his tickets, and Moe's like, I can help you out. I know a guy, but I got to tell you in secret. I can't tell you out here in public.
This was probably the weirdest thing in this entire episode.
This is one of the weirdest scenes I think we've seen in any of the 58 episodes we've covered.
So Mo says, we can't talk here. We'll go into the back room. And they go into a back room. And it was a kind of a nice designed thing. There was a wedding dress in the back room for some reason.
I was trying to see him, but there wasn't anything that really stood out besides the wedding dress. I'm guessing it was supposed to be creepy Mo things.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, oh, it's, of course Mo would have a creepy back room. And I was like, oh, I'm excited.
Room. That was his boxing.
Well,
no, that was the ladies' room.
No, that was the ladies' room. And we have seen where he stores, like, the killer whales that he's doing whatever with. But he goes, no, this isn't even secret enough. And they go into like a very small room. And he's like, this is dank, but it's a little too dank. Yeah, From the small dank room, Mo opens a small door, and they are suddenly on stage for what I assume to be Wicked.
Yeah.
In just a performance center of some kind.
They're in the middle of their performances. The crowd is there. The audience is full.
I guess King Toot's music store also has this like musical
At
theater
least that's
piece.
somewhat relevant.
That sort of makes sense.
I mean, it would make sense if the Wicked was being held behind It Sucks, the air conditioning store.
Yeah, right. It blows.
Oh, it blows.
It Sucks as a vacuum cleaner store. And there's just this like, what is it, like 90 seconds, 2 minutes scene?
It goes on for a while, but it's also multifaceted. So, he walks on, and everybody seems to know him. And they're like, hi, Mo. He's like, oh, sorry, guys, I didn't know you were in the middle of a performance.
And he like rolls with it and like acts as if he's in the show.
And then he sees a flying monkey, which if he knows everybody, you'd think he would know everybody. But apparently he sees this monkey that looks just like Mo, except it's a flying monkey.
Same animation, except it's a guy in a
goes, hey, it's a flying monk me.
No, it's a chimpan me.
Oh, a chimpan me.
It's a monk me. Is
like monkey.
I get it.
I'm sorry. Chimpan me is so much better. I'm so sorry.
It's slightly better. I can't see you. Are you making a happy face or are you upset?
I'm shaking my fist at you. You don't feel the subtle breeze it's creating?
No, that is me blowing on his neck. I wanted to be part of the action again.
Get out of here, ghost girl.
I'm also becoming a different voice, I think.
Go away.
This is what happens when you're in the nether realm
that's
too
enough.
long. I'm gonna go.
Don't make me call the Ghostbusters. They'll put you in a containment chamber.
Yeah, they'll take away your civil rights and throw you in a container for eternity.
With all evil ghosts. It's a very unfair system.
Basically just Vigo in there.
He's not in the containment chamber.
No, they didn't put shit in the containment chamber. Gozer's not in there.
Slimer was in there.
He got out. He's eating all those hot dogs.
Driving the bus.
Do you know which way this bus goes? Oh, okay. See, we don't need Rick Moranis at all.
It works in the dark. Trust me, folks. Although you should know you're listening to this without seeing us either.
No, that's true. So you are all in the dark here at Wii Studios.
Yeah, we're all in the dark.
Yep.
So anyway, Mo sees this monkey, And yeah, he goes, oh, it looks just like me. And they start doing the mirror routine where Mo
Right,
is
where
doing
they're-
actions and the monkey keeps it up. And it goes on.
It goes on and on and on and on.
And like they're doing silly stuff with it. And then it keeps going where the monkey starts flying away. So Mo starts to fly away, but it's
And
actually
we see Homer has lifted
carrying
him up.
It was like a lot of steps involved here.
And it was just
Why?
not funny.
Weird.
Not good. Not bad per se, but it was just like, why are we doing this?
weird.
What is this? What does Wicked have to do with this Donnie Brasco parody Goodfellas thing we have going on?
And the whole point is Mo is like, I got to get you to this private place to tell you about this guy you can bribe. And then it just
cuts
smash
back to the bar.
back to the bar where Homer's drinking a beer. I
Yeah.
guess everybody left the
And
bar.
Mo just tells him
Mo
right
tells
there.
him anyway. What's going on here?
That's kind of funny, but there should
I
have
don't
been
think it was
more.
intentional. I think it was lazy.
Oh, you don't think? Well, I guess it couldn't have.
I think it was lazy.
It could have been intentional.
They couldn't continue the scene in
Wicked World.
on the stage of Wicked.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They probably should have just finished it on the stage of Wicked.
That was the other thing before the monkey thing, which really distracted me. Mo goes, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to come here. Can you guys tell me how to get back home?" And they do a Wizard of Oz.
Right, yeah.
You've always been in Mo's, but
Right.
he went through the door intentionally, and it was the only door. So
that-
A, he should know where he is, and B, wouldn't he know how to go back? Just go back through the door.
That I actually thought he was like playing into the world of Wicked, like trying to be like part of the show, not actually saying
I didn't get
thing.
that at all.
Like it seemed to me like he had done this before and he like knew the routine.
Oh, I didn't get that impression.
Maybe
at all.
I'm wrong, but I don't know why he didn't just say like, he's doing the stupid thing with the chimpan me. He should have just said to Homer like, I'm gonna be here a while. Let me just tell you what you have to do,
exactly.
and then get Homer to the next thing. It
that
cuts
makes
back
so much
to
more
Homer and Mo
sense.
at the bar, and he's just like, you gotta go down to the DMV. You go to this window and you bribe him.
Yeah,
and then we just see that happen.
That's the other thing too. His conversation was completely pointless.
Yeah.
all that was completely pointless.
Completely pointless.
So yeah, and then Homer goes to bribe this guy, and we never even see the guy. He leaves the bribe because the guy went out to lunch or whatever.
But we do see something completely also that makes no sense. Homer says he left an ice cream cone in the car because the guy he's supposed to see had a sign up that said back in 10 minutes. So it cuts to the car where there's an ice cream cone melting, and comic book guy is outside like being like, I'm gonna call for help, and he smashes the window to try and save this ice cream cone.
Yeah, because he's
what
fat.
the fuck is going on?
This comic book
is
guy's
that
fat.
The joke?
Dan,
It's
I
just
gotta explain the joke to you. Dan,
fat people
Dan,
breaking cars? Is that
Dan,
what it is?
Dan, the joke's very simple.
Fat people.
Fat people like ice cream. They will
Yeah.
break into a stranger's car to save a.
And that's what passes for comedy these days.
That's not
Woozle-wuzzle.
comedy. That's truth. Fat people don't. Fat people are so obsessed with food. That's why
The
they got
second-
fat. The second they see ice cream melting, they
All bets are off. They're breaking down doors
and
smashing
comic
open
book
windows.
guy is fat. So 2 + 2 is 4. It's
Okay.
It's screenwriting 101, Dan. Dan,
Well,
I
you
went
know-
to
you know
film
what?
school. I went to film school.
You know what? I love it. It was a great scene.
Okay, good.
It
I'm
wasn't-
glad I convinced you.
It wasn't probably offensive to fat people. It wasn't completely useless to the episode.
wasn't
It wasn't horribly unfunny.
It wasn't poorly written for
Yep.
comic book guy or
Yeah.
anybody in general.
Yep. Okay. Side note, just back off of the bit we were just doing. It was obviously terrible. But like, comic book guy is such a, I don't want to say he's a great character, but he's a character who has buttons you can press, and they've never made it just like fat person stuff. It's always
that's
like nerd
true.
stuff.
It's always nerd stuff. It's sometimes not very funny nerd stuff, but it's nerd stuff. I've
Yeah.
never seen him really used in here's a dumb fat joke.
I guess if you can't use Homer, he is the next like fattest guy.
If you want to know who the fat characters are in The Simpsons, there's an episode we haven't covered yet where Homer, as a kid, goes to fat camp, and it's
Mm-hmm.
him, Wiggum, comic book guy, Fat Tony, ironically.
Yeah.
And maybe one other one, maybe Barney. I don't
Actually,
know.
Wiggum would have made a lot more sense. Like maybe he's going to give Homer a ticket and he sees the ice
Oh
cream
yeah,
in there.
because Wiggum does end up giving him arresting him for the bribe.
For the bribe.
And instead of just showing up out of nowhere,
Yeah, it would have made sense if he's around already.
yeah, that would have made more sense.
Whatever.
Yeah.
We
Oh
can't
my
do all
God,
the
it's a
work for you.
207 ice cream
Ice
left
cream
unattended in a car. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. We just wrote it.
Yeah, there you go.
So just in your minds, delete that comic book comic book guy scene, and put in that Wiggum one.
It was a good one.
Yeah, so Homer bribes whoever he has to bribe. We don't even see it. We just see him come back to his car, and then Wiggum arrests him and says, "Did you leave this there?" It said bribe on the bag. Homer says, "No, I meant to write bride." And then an actual bride comes out and just takes it and
some
just
money,
walks
like, "Hey,
away.
thanks."
There's a lot of just
That's
like
some really weird randomness
randomness
Adult
happening.
Swim type humor.
I don't I don't anything this.
I don't know. He goes to
It's bizarre.
he goes to court for this bribe.
Yeah.
And Bart says something that Bart's like being a real smartass. He's like they drew him in a weird way. His like eyes were like half shut, like in a smug way.
Is this after Homer's sentenced to 10 years?
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
says, I can get out with good behavior in whatever short amount of time.
And Bart says the Simpsons never.
We don't do good behavior.
Yeah, it was like a weird commercial line. It was.
Yeah,
I felt like it would be. If
Fox probably wrote that. Like someone in marketing was like, "You got to put this in the episode. It's a good line. We're gonna put it in the commercials."
Oh, it's one of those country farmer marketing.
I'm here. I'm from Illinois. No, that's too many cities. I'm from Montana, from the mountains, from Butte, Montana.
So So Bart says like really smug, like, yeah, we don't do good behavior. So Homer starts strangling him,
as he is wont to do.
And then he stops. He goes, Judge, sidebar, and he goes, I'll allow it. And he goes and he rips the sidebar.
He rips a bar off the side of the judge's thing.
I thought that was okay.
I thought it was cute.
Yeah, cute.
I didn't necessarily think it was funny. And then he chases Bart around with it. Presumably, he's going to smash him to death.
But yeah, so
that's how things go.
He goes to jail for like 10 years. He's
goes to jail. That's the end of the first act.
Yeah, and then he's brought into the FBI to Jon Hamm's older FBI character.
Right.
It was the sign. I can't remember what the sign was outside the FBI. It was something like "fucking it up" since it wasn't fucking it up, obviously, but it was something like "fucking it up" since 2001. It was
okay,
which was
I don't
wasn't
remember that.
It was great because it was it's fairly political, but it wasn't in your face. They pretty much just threw it in a sign gag, which would have been there whether it was political or not.
Right.
It's so much better than when they do those overt. Superliminal political
just like
preaching.
I don't know. I can't think of one off the top of my head. Just insert one.
I don't honestly. I feel like that there's probably at least one line in a Simpsons episode by now where it's just like well, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not Leon Panetta, something like that. Because they're just so awful with their political preaching lately.
Yeah.
No, I like the FBI thing.
Right.
We meet
Johnny Hamm. Let's talk about Jon Hamm real quick. Sure. Just overall in general.
Well,
I love Jon Hamm.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Mad Men fan.
The first time I ever saw him was in a comedy context. He's in the pilot of the Sarah Silverman program.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I've never watched that show. I probably should.
Apparently he was somewhat well known on the LA comedy scene.
Yeah, well, I don't know Jon Hamm personally. I wish I did. But
wait, I thought you were Jon Hamm. I'm sitting here in the dark. I assumed I was talking to Jon Hamm the whole time.
Actually, my name is Donald Draper.
That's okay.
Okay.
That's not bad.
I'm going to leave now. I'm going to go down to the bus stop in front of Sterling Cooper. Watch Mad Men on AMC, even though it's been off the air for a year. But no, I like Jon Hamm, and I've listened to many podcasts that he's been on. My understanding is when he was a struggling actor, he would just go to the Largo is one of the big alternative comedy rooms
He's
in LA.
also Lisa's music teacher.
That's true. That is very true. He would go there a lot.
We like to give some Simpsons trivia on the Simpsons podcast.
No, I'd prefer to talk about what Jon Hamm was doing 15 years ago.
His parents died. He was like a miserable orphan. He has like the same.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, he has like this. No, he has like the same origin as Don Draper.
Does he really?
Yeah, I listened to like a Fresh Air interview with him, and it was surprise. It was like really miserable. It was just like one on top of another. It was like a Frank Grimes situation.
Yeah, geez, that's horrible.
Yeah, there comes the cops to take me away. I revealed his dark past. The
Jon Hamm police.
The Jon Hamm police are here to arrest Christina Hendricks. Isn't she the one from Mad Men? The redhead?
Yes.
So it's relevant. That one got away from us.
Nice and quick.
All right.
But no, Jon Hamm. Jon Hamm is friends with a lot of comedians.
Yeah. So and he's usually when he does a comedic performance, especially compared to since he's so well known for his dramatic performances, he usually bangs it out of the park. He was great in 30 Rock.
He was.
He's amazing in Wet Hot American Summer. First day of camp.
Yep, he definitely is. He's
I gotta go.
funny.
I got a thing. I really gotta go.
Here.
I would love that. No, I know.
He just killed that guy.
You should watch that Wet Hot American Summer if you haven't seen it.
It's very good. First day of camp. Okay, but Jon Hamm specifically in this episode, how did you think he did?
I think he did a good job. There wasn't too much that was very funny, but he wasn't like last week. We watched Tony Hawk. And his line deliveries. Now Tony Hawk's not an actor, and Jon Hamm is. Jon Hamm is an Emmy-winning.
I'll take
actor.
Hamm over Hawk any day.
But we've seen talented actors also kind of drop the ball. It doesn't work for some people. Just like SNL, some De Niro, one of the all-time great actors, terrible on SNL.
Yeah, Jon Hamm, great in SNL.
Yeah, but they didn't really write. I don't know. There wasn't. He didn't really have too much material. He was playing the straight man.
To see him do more.
He was playing the straight guy.
I did think he was. It was recognizable that it was Jon Hamm's voice because Jon Hamm has that really an iconic, I would say,
hammy voice.
He hams
He's
it up.
such a ham.
But he wasn't playing like a Jon Hamm type. You said, he was an older FBI agent.
Yeah, he did play an FBI agent in The Town.
Right.
Although he didn't have an awful Boston accent in this. He plays an FBI agent.
Yes.
I'm glad they didn't cast him as an ad exec or something.
Right. No, that would have been too much. But I like that he says we're building a case against Fat Tony, and he shows Homer there's like a board connecting everyone in, and Homer, I don't know if he like hits it or something,
he taps it or
walks
something.
into it, all of it falls right into a shredder and just is immediately shredded.
Yeah, like if it falls and you're like, oh god, he ruined the whole thing, and then for it to fall into the shredder, icing on the cake. Yeah,
the extra beat, the rare extra beat that works. I liked it, and I also really liked when they're saying like we're gonna put you into Fat Tony's inner circle. We want you to rat on him. Homer makes. I was writing it down as Homer was making the point. I was gonna say Homer knows Fat Tony like fairly well.
Yeah,
like,
they've come across each other.
They've crossed each other's paths several times.
Apparently,
they went to fat camp together. Fat Tony tried to frame Homer's son for running the Mafia. Yeah, I mean, they know each other pretty well. So I like that Homer was like, but I know Fat Tony. And that was the impetus for, we're going to put you in disguise. You're going to be Nicky Blue Pants.
Yeah, which I don't know. I thought that was a little lazy, the name. Nicky Blue Pants, alto saxophone. I thought they could have done better.
I missed the alto saxophone piece. Okay.
I thought the whole thing. They usually do very good Mafia jokes. There's an episode I've said a few times on the show that I want us to revisit because I really liked it. It was another Fat Tony episode.
Yeah.
And all of their mob jokes are really more of their Italian stereotype jokes. They always just make me laugh. Maybe I'm biased because I come from a very, very Italian Guido family, and you've grown up in that environment.
I'm half Italian.
Yeah, and so
I'm more Italian than I am
Irish.
But
I think it's funnier because it's sillier.
Right.
And there's some stuff we'll probably go over that there's some funny lines in this, but that's why it makes it all the more disappointing that they couldn't come up with a better name. Like there was some funny names in this.
Right.
There was what was
I have it. I wrote one of them down.
Tommy the Face Shooter.
Tommy the Face Shooter was the one I liked.
There's a couple other ones. So like they can do funny names, but I don't know. Homer Blue Pants.
Nicky Blue Pants.
Nicky Blue Pants.
I didn't dislike it as much.
Saxophone.
The alto saxophone is kind of lame, but just Nicky Blue Pants, I kind of like that.
I guess it just seems like it's like Mickey Blue Eyes. Now we're doing Nicky Blue Pants.
I didn't even think about Mickey Blue Eyes. Okay.
I mean.
So maybe the only reason I like it is just because I'd heard Mickey Blue Eyes before. I never saw the movie.
I've never seen it, no.
Okay.
I don't know.
All I remember is the trailer, Hugh Grant going, "Hey, forget about it," in his adorably foppish British voice. They take Homer in, and he's going to be in the mob, and they're going to set him up. I like they put him in an ice cream truck, and they're driving him to the prison in the ice cream truck and kind of giving him the lowdown. The ice cream truck is obviously an FBI surveillance van,
right.
And they're driving through town, and they just
the kids are excited.
All the kids are following the ice cream truck. There's just a voice that goes, "No ice cream available. Children, stay away."
Yeah, that was great. That's a classic Simpsons.
Great delivery, Hank Azaria.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
No ice cream available. Children, stay away.
So then they're in the van and they show Homer how he's going to be wired. It's in his toupee.
Yeah.
And his sideburn
like
has a
greaser
camera.
hair.
Yeah. And they say, all right, to zoom in, you got to go, hey, and to zoom out, you go, whoa. That was funny to me. And that was one of the few instances I thought Jon Hamm actually had a funny line to deliver.
Yeah.
He wasn't just delivering exposition.
Right.
I really liked that line. I like that. I like Jon Hamm doing that. I like the concept
that whole
of
thing.
it.
I agree.
It was a little much, but in this episode, it was a highlight.
Yeah. So Homer goes into prison. The idea is Jon Hamm's going to pose as a guard. Homer's going to fight him and kind of defend one of the other made guys and kind of get in with Fat Tony's group that way.
So the Jon Hamm goes to pick a fight with Legs. Homer fights him. Homer gets dragged away where they're going to beat him up.
They're going to give him a beating.
And then again, here's another great Simpsons-y Mafia Italian joke. Legs. Usually it's Legs who actually says my favorite lines too.
Yeah.
He goes, he's like,
They hear Homer wailing from the beating room, even though they're not actually beating him.
And he goes, I'm impressed with that guy over here, over there.
Yeah.
Over here.
I'm impressed over here with that guy over there.
Yeah. That, like, it's just that kind of stuff.
That was a great line.
Legs has a lot of good
And I thought it was interesting. Basically, Homer just stops the guard from harassing Legs, and then he goes back to his own cell, and Fat Tony, Legs, and Louie come in, and they're just like, we're breaking out, and you're coming with us. And they just, like, poke the hole in the wall because it's Mafia construction.
I guess they were going to escape anyway.
I guess, to me, it was just very sudden. Just like, we like you, Homer, or Nicky, or whatever the fuck your name is.
It's weird that they even started in prison. I just, like...
Yeah. Well, I guess...
Why not just in the...
Oh, I was going to say, I guess Homer had to go to prison, but no, he didn't, because he's getting out of prison by doing this.
The Departed starts out with prison. You go undercover, you go in prison, but it didn't seem necessary. Fat Tony's never in prison. You would think he would just meet him at the gentleman's club, somehow.
That's a great point.
Yeah, so Homer becomes friends with... They pretty much bond very quickly, Homer and Fat Tony.
Yeah, I like one of the things he says. Fat Tony takes a liking to him. He goes to the grave of his wife,
which is a continuity. I think they've said in previous episodes that Fat Tony's wife is dead. That's one of the few things in the Simpsons that seem to carry over.
I didn't remember him having a wife living or dead.
I think it's again the episode I like is about Michael, his son, wanting to not be in the mob. It's a long story, but I'm pretty sure
sounds like The Godfather.
I'm pretty sure his he doesn't have a mother in that either. I could be wrong.
Okay.
I feel like I've also seen Fat Tony's wife in other episodes now that I think about
it. Maybe she died off screen.
I would hope so. I hope we didn't see her die. That would be dark. It's like that episode where Fat Tony's wife gets leukemia.
It's just a real time. 22
it's real
minutes,
time. Her
the last
in a bed. The last 22
minutes
minutes of her life. It was very experimental, which we liked.
But it wasn't very funny, so we took points off for that.
3.5.
Yeah, 3.5. Fat Tony says that he likes Homer, but Homer has to make his bones. He's got to do something for Fat Tony to kind of prove himself. And I like that the thing he has to do is he wants him to burn down Moe's.
Yeah.
And I like that because Homer went to Moe, and Moe kind of set all this off.
Yeah.
Like it's a little bit...
That's a loose thread.
Yeah, I mean, they don't call attention to it, but I liked it.
I liked it because it looked like it was shot in a way... they were sitting in a car across the street. I think it was intentionally calling back to Goodfellas, which
probably
didn't. There's a scene where they burn the restaurant down in Goodfellas and they're sitting in the car, which is interesting because Goodfellas really isn't parodied in this movie at all until the very end. This is obviously more of a Donnie Brasco situation,
right?
Then the Goodfellas thing comes out of nowhere at the end. But this
kind of general mob movies.
That's true.
There's some casino stuff. There was like a car bomb thing in the montage at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fat Tony doesn't like Moe because he called up looking for his Russian associate Yuri Nader, and Moe obviously thought it was a prank call. I thought that was
rare post-classic Moe prank call that works because it's not just Bart doing a call. It's pushing the story forward. And Yuri Nader, not the worst.
It's funny that they have fun with, I guess, the trope of calling Moe's with a fake name when they haven't done it in... At this point, 20 seasons.
But it's
it was
burned in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's such a burned-in thing into the show.
Like if you were watching this, if you were a kid and you don't watch syndicated 90s Simpsons, you only watch, say, season 15 and on, that scene would probably be kind of weird to you.
Well, maybe not. I mean, you might just think, you not even get that connection and just
still appreciate it. Yeah. If that's the case, you're an idiot because there's not much to appreciate in this episode.
Yeah, you idiots.
There's
nothing in this episode.
You're so fucking stupid.
Why don't you get off your ass? Stop listening to podcasts.
Study for the SATs.
Do something with your
life.
Try to
get, what do you get in the SAT now? 2,400? 3,000? It was 1,600 when we took it.
It was, yeah.
Now it's something ridiculous. Go study for your SATs.
Go study for SATs.
Get a fucking job. Go get a job.
What are you doing? What are you... I'm talking to you, Joe. What are you doing? I just love picking out a random name. I'm sure we have a listener named Joe.
I hope we have more than one.
And then he's just thinking, and he's just like, what am I doing? Excuse me, I would like to point out...
What is it, little ghost girl?
Something you have neglected to do. You didn't say who suggested this episode to be watched.
Oh, shit.
His name was George Martin Fellbrown. Now I'll see myself out.
All right, thank you, George. Wait, little ghost girl. Yes. First of all, we forgot because we're in the dark. We can't really see the list.
I know, but I can see everything with my ghost eyes.
I think we forgot the last few episodes. Who suggested last week's episode?
Steven suggested all of them.
Are you making that up, little ghost girl?
No, I wouldn't do that.
I can hear you nodding your head. I can tell, even though I can't see you.
No, you can't.
I can tell from the inflection of your voice that you're nodding your head.
What if I speak with no inflection?
All right, I can't tell if you're nodding your head or not.
Okay, I'm going to leave now.
Wait, so
my voice has changed
so
again.
You don't know who suggested last week's episode?
I wasn't here for last week's episode.
You're a ghost. You transcend time, don't you?
and space.
So
I'm the new doctor.
no, you're not.
Yeah. Doo, doo, doo. That's all we can play for legal purposes.
We're Dan. Where you been?
I'm just enjoying the repartee that you and this ghost girl
Don't
have.
enjoy it.
Yeah, so he asks Homer to burn down Moe's, and what I really love is that he's thinking about it. He's like, "Can I do this? Moe's my friend." And then Moe comes out, and the bar just explodes, where Moe has already done it.
This was one of
And
my
Fat
favorite
Tony
parts
doesn't
of the
see
episode,
it, and
yeah.
he thinks Homer did it. I just love it that Moe does it before Homer even can.
Yeah, no, I like that. It makes sense. It's not like, oh, that's such a writing themselves out of the corner, writing themselves out of the hole. That makes perfect.
No, it makes
of course,
perfect sense that Moe would do
Moe,
that. Yeah.
That makes so much more sense than Moe doing a mirror act with a monkey.
Yes,
that's in a
which
stage
is not
built
at all
into
a Moe
Moe's
thing.
Wicked.
Yeah, well, that didn't make a lot of sense now that I
Now
think
that
about
you
it.
think about it.
So yeah, after the Moe thing, Fat Tony throws a small celebration for Homer to kind of say he's a made man. He's one of the guys. I like there was a line where he says, "Now your problems are our problems," and Homer
Where
just
you
goes,
end, we begin.
Yeah, and your problems are now our problems. And Homer says, I got an itch in my neck. And he says, then we all have itches in our neck. And they all just start scratching their
It was
neck.
silly.
That was just enough silly
It
for
did
me. I
make
liked
me
it.
laugh, but I appreciate. It wasn't like I wasn't rolling my eyes. It was fine.
Yeah, and I don't know what you thought about this one. They
you.
say, I think this is, then it's just Fat Tony and Homer later. He toasts to heterosexual male friendship, the kind the Greeks wrote about.
Yeah.
I thought that was
fine.
fine.
Greeks had a lot of sex with
The
each
Greeks liked gay sex. Cut
Look,
that out. Just cut all of it.
They didn't have smartphones. They didn't
No,
have
they didn't have-
Xboxes.
all they had were
They had
penises.
man buttholes.
Penises were the original smartphones. You just said you play with it on the toilet.
Even though we're in pitch black, I have a feeling you made a playing with your penis motion.
Maybe.
Not you, little ghost.
I can see everything in the dark.
Oh, don't look at Dad's penis, little ghost.
Hey now, that's for me to do on the Wee Cruise coming this summer.
On the toilets.
And the toilets.
So anytime you want to use a bathroom on the Wee Cruise,
I have to see your penis. I in fact look up from the toilet. The toilets are clear. I gotta see everything.
all the bathrooms on the Wee Cruise are made of glass.
Yeah.
And everybody can
Complete
see
glass.
everything you're doing
Yep.
in there at all times.
That's how we do it. Yeah. So then they're doing a deal with the what was it?
Yeah. So they're on the docks. They're doing a deal with the Belgians. They're doing a gun sale.
Homer is zooming in and out with his hair camera, the A's and the O's.
Yeah, he doesn't want. He feels bad because he knows Tony's about to get busted, and they've established a rapport, which I wish was stronger. I don't think. I think in general this
It could have been
episode was
stronger.
really weak and mediocre. So, not offensively, so it just was.
It was
but
kind of bland. I like
yeah.
the idea overall, to be honest.
But to be honest, they needed. That's weird. We both said to be honest.
Well,
I think I
to be
said
honest-
it because you said it.
to be honest-
To be honest. To be honest.
to be honest.
To be honest. To be honest. No, I just wish, like, I don't know, because the core of this episode is Homer's bond with Fat Tony. I wish, like, the cemetery scene was nice. You could see that's a good setting for them to bond.
Well, I think
but they didn't really do anything.
I
It's
think
just
the issue
there.
you can kind of see why Fat Tony would like Homer so much, but not so much the other way around. Why Homer is so loyal.
Yeah, he
to
should
Fat
have done
Tony.
something. He should have, like
Like it's nice he throws him a party,
right.
but
Like
that's
the other
kind of it.
Goodfellas parody we've covered on this podcast, where Bart becomes friends with Nelson, and they have that Goodfellas parody where he gets to sit in the cafeteria and he gets treated like royalty.
Yeah.
They should have done something like that where Homer gets an
we never
advantage
see
out
Homer
of being in
exactly.
He should like being
You know
in the
why?
Mafia.
Do you know why? We a scene where Homer is treated to the high life of being a made man. That would have been great, but there wasn't any time because he had to have that wicked scene
Oh
in
yeah,
there.
that's
and
right.
the
You have
extended
to have
couch
Moe
gag.
doing the chimpan me scene.
Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah, so Homer doesn't, like I said, it would have been nice if they built up this bonding and Homer, we really believed Homer and Tony, but we don't. But whatever, it's we get what we can, and Homer doesn't want to do it, but he caves again. He caves really easy. He's just like, I don't want to rat out Tony. I'm thinking, and he even thinks about telling him that they're there. Jon Hamm goes, no, zoom in, and he goes, okay. There was like really no character conflict there. He's just he didn't want to do it.
He was pained doing it. Clearly,
It was there was like no resistance. He's like, oh, okay. He didn't want to do it. He was still not happy about it, but he's just
I
like,
wouldn't say
okay.
there's no resistance. There was some resistance.
He's just like, all right.
I mean, what's he gonna do? Run out?
I don't know. I just I don't. If you're gonna build up this whole bond, then
do something. Well,
yeah, I don't know. So he gives in pretty easy. He just starts zooming in, and Jon Hamm's like, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in. He goes, so he's going, hey, oh, hey, oh.
I think the bigger problem is that Fat Tony is somehow now aware that he is about to be ratted
he can
out.
tell from the A's and the O's.
I guess
Immediately identifies that the wire is in the sideburn.
Yeah, I guess he must. They don't say this at all. There's all headcanon to explain this.
Let's hear it.
But just like someone else had done a ratting out situation with the
same
same A-O, zoom in, zoom out hairpiece. That's the best I can come up with.
Yeah.
Because it's just out of nowhere. He just turns around and he's like, wait a minute, are you wearing a wire?
And he pulls it right out. He knows
And he knows exactly where it is, on his right temple.
It was. They really didn't. It was weak. It was weak to get. They needed to get that's where the story needed to be, and it was just weak how they got there.
Yeah, and then the police swarm.
Yeah, the police swarm. I forget what Fat Tony says, or Homer says something. This might be after Fat Tony dies. I don't know, but I was gonna. Well, I'll just say it now. So I forget, Homer, what the setup line is, but then Jon Hamm goes, forget about it.
Yeah,
and that sets off the self-destruct system that they set up earlier in the episode, and Homer's hair goes on fire. That was a great
callback.
And that was a great callback. And when they did the forget about it in the beginning, it was with the A-O, and and Homer goes, forget about it. And he goes, oh, don't say that. That activates it. And his hair goes on fire. I was actually thinking, it's like, oh, man, that can make a really great callback if they do that at the right time.
Yeah, and they did. It was right after Fat Tony died.
Yeah, what the hell? I can't believe.
Fat Tony has a heart attack. I don't really get why he would have a heart attack then.
Because he was heartbroken. But Homer broke his heart.
I understand the very literal sense of it, but I don't know. Maybe a scene of just him eating some crappy food would have done it for me.
He does eat a lot of
like gabagool.
Big Italian food. But I wrote in my notes, because I really don't like the idea of them killing off a beloved Simpsons character. I don't like death. I don't like thinking about mortality. I don't. If it's up, this might be a radical thought against the status quo. I wish we could all live forever. I don't want to die.
Oh, I don't want to live forever.
No, I want to live forever, and I want to age too. So I want to just get more and more decrepit and handicapped.
So in like 200 years, I'm just basically a walking skeleton.
I'm just sentient dust.
Just like the Marvel Comics character Dust.
Yeah, really? He's sentient dust?
She is a mutant, and she can turn into dust. That was really sexist of you.
When does that come into... How is that useful?
Fuck you!
Turning into dust. When do you use that against Magneto?
Yeah, well, she can control dust and use it to
I don't know. I'd rather have
hit you with dust.
Metal claws. I'd hate to be Dust Girl.
What about little ghost girl?
I wouldn't want to be her either because she's dead, and I don't want to ever die. We just established this.
Being a ghost is a form of eternal life.
No, it's not. It's a form of eternal death.
You have won this battle of wits.
So I wrote.
I must return to my dimension for 30 days again.
Hell.
Yes. Hell.
Go burn there.
Goodbye.
I wrote in my notes. Fat Tony dead. Fat Tony is dead.
Yeah.
That's what I wrote in my...
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to them killing off a character. I think that is the kind of thing we ask for, like an experimental type thing.
Yeah, I mean, I want them to experiment, but I don't want them to kill off Fat Tony because then you don't get to ever have Fat Tony jokes again.
I agree. I mean, Fat Tony's a good character.
You get it, but
they work around it.
It's such a shitty cheat. It's like
they
an
do a
Armin
shitty cheat,
Tanzarian Snowball 4 kind of thing.
Right. So obviously the cheat here is Fat Tony dies, but we meet Fit Tony, who is his cousin from San Francisco? One of the Sands.
San Diego.
One of the Sands.
He wears
San Diego. I have it written down in my notes.
He wears a track jacket, which totally reminds me of my dad in the 80s and 90s.
Right.
And there's a great line. Homer goes, wow, an Italian who's...
I've never seen a mobster use a tracksuit for exercise.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great line. Yeah, and Fat Tony kind of takes Homer to the gym. I guess that's where he does his business at the gym, which makes sense if he's Fit Tony.
Yeah.
And he makes Homer go on the elliptical for 20 minutes and kind of convince him why he shouldn't kill him.
Weird.
Well, it makes sense. Like if you have this mobster whose whole thing is fitness.
I guess.
I kind of like that.
I was surprised Homer didn't put up more of a fight. I thought he was going to be like, oh, this is torture. Just kill me now. Which he does
I expected
eventually.
That too. Yeah. But instead what they do is they say oh, Fat Tony was the best boss I ever had. And then it just pans over and Mr. Burns is now somehow in this Mafia gym. And he's working out.
And Mr. Burns is like, awkward.
Yeah, as if Mr. Burns would ever say that, ever, in a million years.
Yeah, it was really... And then Homer's like, oh, no, you're my best boss. And he's like, I'd believe that.
It was terrible.
Yeah, it was... Compared to the Mo Monkey thing, which was out of place and too long,
this was Mr. I don't know who this was.
Painfully cringeworthy, eye-rolling, unfunny, and lame.
Yeah, and it would have been with other characters, but it was just so out of character for Mr. Burns, specifically.
Yeah, no, it was... I'd rather know Burns than that kind of Burns.
Yeah. And then, somehow Fit Tony is convinced that Homer, like, I think Homer cries for
Yeah.
Fat Tony,
Again,
and he's
if
just
they-
like, of course, these aren't crocodile tears, these are real tears.
Yeah.
I'll forgive you for killing my cousin, and
Yeah.
now I'll be the new Fat Tony.
Again, if they had really done a better job beefing up the Homer Tony plot in Act 2,
Yeah.
think about other one-off characters, and Fat Tony's not a one-off character, so you have an advantage. But think of one-off characters that have bonded with the character in the space of an act. You have
Mr. Bergstrom.
You have Mr. Bergstrom. You have Milhouse and Samantha Stenke, Homer and Bart and Jessica Lovejoy.
Yeah.
You can do in space of
Big brother
7.
Tom.
Yeah, you can do in 7 minutes. You can get two characters to bond. You can get a character we don't know and a Simpson
Ingratiate
to bond.
themselves to us and the characters.
Let alone a Fat Tony who is a very well-known secondary character. It wouldn't be that hard to really beef up their relationship rather than like a cemetery scene, which was okay, and it's just it wasn't bad. They didn't.
It could have been better.
Botch it, but it could have been a lot better.
Right, and then
that would have made all this other stuff make more sense.
The episode just ends. Like
Yeah,
there's not really a resolution. I don't know what
Well,
the resolution could
is
be. The resolution is a Goodfellas
Fit
thing.
Tony forgives him for he realizes
But
that Homer
that's
cared
such a
about Tony.
weak thing to do.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, at the very, very end, this brand new character comes in.
I guess they needed, we like to say how we like character-based plot, but it's not bad to have a high-concept story plot that is informed by the characters. It would have been nice
Right.
if there was a clear, early-on set-up story where now they really needed Fat Tony, and now Homer has to do... Homer's dedication to Fat Tony or something
Is what saves the day?
saves the day, and then that is what redeems Fit Tony's eyes. Something concrete, something to tie the emotions and the character dynamics
That would have been much better.
to a realistic, like a physical...
I guess that's what it is, because Homer is just off the hook out of nowhere, just all of a sudden.
There's
He's on an
no
elliptical.
Yeah, besides their dynamic, there's no story. Like that guns
No.
plot is just a scene, and
Yeah,
the prison
yeah.
is just a scene, and the cemetery is just a scene.
Yeah.
There's no. None of them are really tied together at all, except through the Fat Tony Homer relationship.
Yeah. Well, it ends with that Goodfellas parody montage. You have anything to say about that? I mean, they did it.
It was okay. It
fine.
wasn't funny. It was nice to see. I kind of liked how Homer was. So Homer comes out of the house, and it's just like Henry Hill at the end of Goodfellas. He picks up the newspaper, and Homer's smiling, and it's weird because the narration is tonally off, but he's saying he's happy because he has a family, and like that, which doesn't quite fit the whole point. He's just like, I'm just a miserable schlub in the suburbs who loves my family and
Right.
So it was a little weird. It was like going off in kind of different directions. But it was a nice way to show, if that's what they were doing, that Homer is content with his family and The Simpsons. Because, like, to use this Goodfellas parody, be like, here's this famous scene where this guy is in the suburbs and hates his life. And look, if you have a family you love about, it's actually not so bad. Oh, except that doesn't tie into any.
Right, that's
the
what I
rest of the
was
episode.
going to say. Like, Homer started off totally fine. The only reason he got into this was because he didn't recycle properly.
This is a tired trope, but it would have been nice if Homer really liked being in the Mafia because he was tired of being a regular guy. Or maybe maybe he's getting these tickets and stuff, but he's like, I wish I was above the system. I'm sick of being a drone in the system. I wish I didn't have to follow the rules.
Yeah.
And then the Mafia thing is the fantasy playing out, and then the end you come back to I like following the rules. I like the straight edge life because I get to have my family and live in the suburbs.
Yeah.
Like it's and it's been done. It's stale, whatever. But at least it's something to latch on
something,
to.
yeah. With a couple of jokes, it would be fine.
Yeah, and it would make the Homer's character motivations
Like
in the mob scenes make a lot more sense.
The plot problems would have been okay if there were more jokes that worked in this episode, I think.
Yeah.
Because, like, the Wicked thing, all the things we've been talking about that just fell completely flat for us.
Yeah.
With better stuff around that, I think it would have been better. But I thought you were going to point out a line that I did like at the very end. Homer is with the family and goes back inside and is like, I'm back with my family, where the only one who ever shot anything was the baby.
Yeah, which was okay. I like that.
I thought that was funny. Just a nice
but then they
callback.
bring it right back again, and then they parody Joe Pesci shooting the camera at the end of Goodfellas, and it's Maggie shooting the camera, which I really like. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And it's weird
She's
because
good with
that
firearms.
doesn't seem to be too tied in with the line. It just seems to be two separate callbacks to Maggie having shot Mr. Burns.
Yeah, true.
And then it continues the Goodfellas ending parody. You had the voiceover, which came out of nowhere. You have the suburb shot. You have the Maggie shooting the screen. And then it does the captions of where are they now, which Goodfellas and many, many movies have done. I didn't find a single one funny. I thought they were all strained, pained. I don't know what the aimed I'm looking
strains,
for.
pains, and automobiles is what they were.
They were all reaching, and they were all just kind of like grating. I didn't like them.
And you accurately pointed out that the very last one was Nicholas Pileggi, or not Nicholas Pileggi.
Oh yeah,
Was
it
it?
said he had nothing.
Yeah.
He wrote. He's the writer of
He wrote
Wise Guy, the book,
The
and
book that Goodfellas was based on.
and then he wrote the screenplay for Goodfellas.
Right.
And it says he had nothing to do with this episode. Which again, if this was a Goodfellas parody, that would make sense. Not just
But it
the
was
last
mostly
60 seconds of
not
the
a
episode.
Goodfellas parody, yeah.
So that's weird. But yeah, it says he had nothing to do with this episode, but he's being punished by continuing to live with his wife Nora Ephron, who was alive at
for
the time.
a life sentence or something.
And like that
that
seems mean. Like
I don't know. What,
she's
are
an
we-
outspoken woman.
Are we insulting Nora Ephron?
Yeah,
Is
that's
that
what
what
I'm
the
saying.
joke is?
Because she's an outspoken woman who's like talks about like being a middle-aged woman. Does that make her quote unquote bitchy? And like I'd hate to be chained to that.
Judging from the episodes that we have ranked as our worst, like the blue and the gray,
Yeah.
and the one where Marge gets breast implants, maybe they just don't like women.
It's what it seems like. Like,
It sort of seems like
like
it.
oh, I'd hate to be chained to that piece of work. You know?
Yeah, us guys here. That's what it's all about. Let's take out our penises and look at them. And maybe do more.
I don't do that unless I'm at sea.
Homer, I just want to say that of all the rat bastards we've had working for us, you were the snitchiest.
So that's it. You used me to kill a man, and all I get is a handshake and a blanket?
We didn't say you could use the blanket.
And I'm not going to shake your hand.
So that is it for Donnie Fatso. It is now time for us to rank it on our hippo scale. That is the humor, the integrity, the production values, and the originality of the episode. We're going to do it from 0 to 5 and rank this one on our master list, which is available on wepodcast.com. Jack, will you put 2 minutes on the clock? I like that clock a
You're
great deal.
burning in hell for the next 30 days.
It was a trick. I've returned. 30 more days of my craziness.
Damn you, Ghost Girl.
Okay, so the time's on the clock. Let's do it. The humor of this episode. Jack, what are you thinking? 0 out of 5.
I was thinking 1.5, maybe. I feel like there's not that. It wasn't
Let's think
unfunny,
about
but I
this.
can't think of any jokes I really liked. There was like a few. What did we say last week? 2 jokes is a 1. 2 laugh out louds is a 1.
2 is a 1. No, let's think about this. So this average is 2.5, right?
Yeah.
This is below average.
Right.
So we're looking at most a 2. I didn't really find
2
myself
seems too high.
laughing. So I think 2 is too high. I think 0.5 is too low because that seems like an aggressively unfunny episode. So I think I'm with you. 1.5. So my breaking it down didn't help at all. It's just the same 2 numbers that you were trying to decide
Except
between.
you said it a lot longer.
I'm trying to buy up time. 1.5.
Yeah, I might go to 1. We'll see.
I might go to 1 too. The integrity of this episode. What do you think?
Nobody was. There was Jerk-ass Lisa for
Jerk-ass
a
Lisa.
split second.
Yeah.
Nobody seemed out of character. 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. Was there anything
The
aggressively
story
bad
didn't.
there?
They should have done more with Homer's character in terms of
Right,
why
but
he's there. But
we'll
that's
ding that in
that's-
originality,
Yeah,
I
that's
guess.
not integrity.
I'll say 2.5 also because there's nothing that I can think of right now to really bring it down. Production values, there's nothing
the
that special.
Goodfellas parody was nice.
Yeah, it was nice, but it wasn't anything that creative. Like even the hot couple, like we were talking about, they parodied the moving through the restaurant and they did it in the school. Like I like that.
I mean, I like the shot of Maggie shooting the camera. This is where we count voice acting. Jon Hamm did a decent
John
job.
Hamm did a bang up job.
I'll give it a 3. Maybe
I'm
3.
gonna
I
go.
might even go 3.5.
I'm gonna say 2.5. I think this was just kind of average. And the originality of the episode.
Okay, so
We've done plenty of mob things with the Simpsons.
we have
before.
the undercover thing's somewhat original.
Yeah.
I'm going to deduct several points, either
Oh,
list
okay.
1 to 1.5 for the awful Fat Tony cheat cop out.
Right.
The fact that they killed Fat Tony and then they landfilled him and brought him back.
I landfilled him. I don't hate that they killed Fat Tony, but I do not love I don't know why it works in Beer Fest when they
that's
landfill
a silly- that's
because it's
inherently
intentionally
silly.
it's winking and it's like just call
That's
me
a silly
landfill.
movie. You don't take that serious at all anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas the Simpsons,
I was sad to see that character die, but it's like I had no emotional attachment to him. It's
right.
Beer
He
Fest.
hasn't been around for 20 years.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Fat Tony has.
Fat Tony, I was sad to see
so that
go,
makes
but I
sense.
was more upset to see Fit Tony become Fat Tony and them to just write it off. Same with
Yeah.
Snowball 2. Snowball 2 is dead, and Snowball 2 at a certain point in later seasons is a different
right, and
cat.
now it's like Snowball 4 or whatever.
Well, they call it Snowball 2 in honor of Snowball 2.
Oh, okay. Well, that's how
Terrible.
that works.
Yeah. So I don't like that. I don't like death. I don't want anybody to die. Stay with me, mommy. Stay.
It's too late for me, Jack.
Well, I don't care about you.
Oh, okay. I'll see
It's no
myself
offense.
out.
I mean, sad when any
You
child
can't
dies.
see my
but
tears. Oh, I don't care if a child dies either.
But
I am right there with
I
you.
didn't really know you before you died. I've known you mostly after, and frankly, you're annoying.
You've known me entirely after.
That's true.
Oh,
I
was
was
it?
there when you died.
Actually,
I saw Gru forget you.
in a lost twist, you knew me as a little girl.
Am I actually your half brother from
Yes.
Australia?
My name is Claire. I don't know. What do you think originality-wise?
All right, so I'm taking off major points for
it
the.
seems like you're going below
I'm
average.
taking off major points for the Fat Tony, and I'm also going to take off major points because I thought the story was very lackluster. I thought, like in general, the dots are there, but the
dots are
lines
there.
connecting to the dots needed to be thicker. Let's
That's a
say
great
that.
way to say it. It
So
wasn't-
instead of using the pencil icon on your Doodle app, you should be using the sharp, thick marker.
I used the
icon.
Doodle app on my original smartphone, which is my penis. Yeah, I agree. The line's not tight in the connect the dot scenario. I'm going to say 2, though. I'm not going to go that low.
I might say 0.5. I'm going to hesitantly put down a
Really?
1 for now.
Okay.
I might do 0.5 by the end of the numbers crunching.
Okay, so we have crunched our numbers, and Donnie Fatso has ranked as a slightly better episode than Homer vs. Dignity and a slightly worse episode than Treehouse of Horror 22, which we did not that long ago. That puts it at the 31 mark on the list, number 31 on our list.
Yeah,
right now.
Homer vs. Dignity is an odd one because it had a lot of funny season 12 stuff going on while being a really shitty shitty story and stuff.
Well, yeah, that one was low on integrity, but not so bad on everything
This one,
else.
in my mind, is more with the painfully bland episodes.
Yeah, this is more middle of the road, but also like slightly less than middle of the road. So that's it for this episode of Worst Episode Ever. If you have an episode you would like to make us watch by suggesting it, you can do that on weepodcast.com. That's weepodcast.com. And while you're there, we would greatly appreciate it if you click through our Amazon links, if you check out our Simpsons movie commentary. It's a lot of fun. It's only $2. And you can get to our Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, all the places we are on the internet. And if you want to see Jack and I, not see us, if you want to see us, you can
You want
just
to
come
see
to
our
Wii
penises,
Studios.
you know what to do.
Bring a flashlight and come to Wii Studios.
Wait,
if you want to
we
see
don't
us.
show us them. I don't know. I can't keep
Everyone's
up
just
anymore.
showing everyone's penises. Even the women are getting in on the fun.
This is not what I signed up for a year ago.
My plan was, hey Jack, let's start a Simpsons podcast, and then we can get some penises.
I was wondering why you asked me to keep up my pube trimming. I didn't see how that was relevant.
That's just good hygiene. Our personal Twitters, I'm at ThenDanSays.
I'm at Jackie No Breaks.
And Woohoo Classic Simpsons Trivia, that's the first Thursday of every month. I co-host that with friend of the show, Dan Ozzie. If you're in the Brooklyn area, that is at Berry Park Bar. December 3rd is going to be the next one, but there are also other wonderful trivia nights throughout North America. There's a bunch in Canada. A preponderance of them are in Canada and in the Midwest, so
They got
Google
nothing better
around.
to do.
Yeah, they got nothing better to do. Canada, what do they do? What do they play, hockey?
They might listen to this podcast, in which case, we love you.
Oh, no, we love Canada. We love our French-Canadian overlords, of course. But yeah, Google Woohoo Classic Simpsons Trivia. I'm sure you can find more information about that. So, Jack, next week, I say we do another one. In a week. 1 week from today, a new episode is going to come out. Is it coming out on Thanksgiving? I don't know what day today is.
Yeah, that's right. Thursday's Thanksgiving, huh?
I don't know. I have no idea what day it is today, let alone what day this is coming out.
Do you listen to podcasts on Thanksgiving? I'm trying to think.
On
I guess if you're
Thanksgiving,
traveling,
probably
it is
not.
a big travel day.
Well, on Thanksgiving itself, maybe on the way home. Well, I think most people are doing it on Wednesday. Maybe if we have it, we'll release the next
All right,
episode on Wednesday.
we'll do one more. We'll do
All
one.
right, we'll do one more.
We'll do one more
for Thanksgiving.
Then maybe I don't know. Maybe we'll call it quits after that. Maybe we'll do an episode 60. I don't know.
Okay, we'll see. We'll find out in a few weeks. Next week, we're going to be watching an episode from season 18 called Little Big Girl.
Now I look forward. What's the neutral version of forward? I look to it.
I expect it to occur.
I expect it to occur as well.
And if it doesn't, I'm going to be real mad.
I'll be fine.
All right. But we are going to end the show today. Thanks for listening so much. We're out of Cut All This submissions, so if you would like to submit a Cut All This submission, you should do that on our website. So today, Jack is going to end the show with his very own Cut All This.
All right, give me a cut.
Cut.
Give me an all.
All.
All right, thanks, guys.
And me? No, I'm just an average schnook like everyone else. Stuck in this backwater burg where all you can count on is your family. And the only one who ever shot anyone is the baby. I have to admit, it's a pretty good life.